I talked energy at the top of the program with Labor pushing on with its climate agenda, and I showed you in their modelling how much of the analysis defies reality. It claims power prices will go down when they've only gone up thanks to the renewables push over the past couple of decades, and it predicts the creation of more than 600,000 jobs, most of them indirectly, based on cheaper prices and the like. I mean, really? Have a look at this note saying that induced jobs will occur because industries will avoid the damage of global warming on the economy and they'll get the benefit of low-cost renewable energy. Say what? Australia's policies will not change the climate. That is the fact. That is the science. These people are science deniers. And we all know that the renewables push has only increased prices here, in the UK, in Europe and elsewhere. So this is nonsense. This is not logic. Let me bring in the former Resources Minister, Senator Matt Canavan, who joins us from Queensland. Good to talk to you again, Matt. This push for the so-called safeguards mechanism to beef it up that Labor's going to do, that is just a way of putting more pressure on big industries to cut their emissions further. What will that do to this country?
Well, it'll push up prices, Chris. I'm sure many of your viewers have noticed that prices have been going up. Indeed, this week it was confirmed that we've had the biggest reduction in real wages on record, thanks to surging energy, food and other prices. And this new carbon tax, because that's what it is, it's carbon tax. Joel Fitzgibbon called it a carbon tax. He told the truth a few months ago. Will push up the price of everything. So the way this works is the Labor Party are going to make 200 odd businesses around the country buy carbon credits. They cost money, and when they pay for those carbon credits, those costs will be passed on to consumers. On current carbon prices, this will be a $6 billion hit to the Australian economy. But it's likely when this gets going, the carbon price will go up because there'll be extra demand for it. And if we get to a level that the New Zealand carbon price is at, which is over about $75 a tonne right now, it'll be a $15 billion hit to our economy. And that's going to be paid for by every viewer. So whenever you hear them talk about renewable energy or net zero, that's just a euphemism for saying you're going to have to pay more.
Well, and look, honestly, when you look at that modelling and they actually dare to claim that they're going to save money by stopping global warming, I'm just speechless at the level of deception involved in that, not to mention the magic pudding economics. I notice you're on your placard there today, you're talking about ending the ban on nuclear energy. Germany has just decided to extend the lives of 3 of its nuclear generators. We know that France is expanding nuclear, the UK as well. To me, this spells the cat, doesn't it? If people are really focused on energy, maintaining our lifestyle but reducing emissions and supplying energy, if they rule out nuclear, it exposes the fact that it's not about logic for them. It's about ideology.
Exactly right, Chris. I mean, I'm going to say something here that I've never said before. We should do what Germany's doing on energy policy. That's not been a recommendation I would typically have made in recent years. In fact, we're on the same road as Germany, right? Germany has shut down most of its nuclear power plants, only 3 left operating. It's shut down a huge number of coal-fired power plants. It's banned fracking and gas development in its own country, and it's installed enormous amounts. It's going to spend about $500 billion on solar and wind energy over the next few years. So we're on the same road as Germany. Now, what's Germany doing right now? They've done a massive U-turn, and they're coming back the other way. They're telling us, don't keep going down, and we should listen to that and turn around sooner rather than later.
Indeed. Let me just show you a little bit of commentary today on the CNBC about energy in Germany.
We are really in dire straits on the gas market in Germany. Prices have been skyrocketing. Consumers will soon feel this in their pockets as well, as there's the new gas levy, and so prices will be increased for end consumers as well. And then we have ambitious targets to save energy over the winter.
Dire straits, prices going up and telling people to save energy, not to use it during the winter. Yet this is Germany. This was the renewable energy powerhouse of Europe. I seem to recall about a year ago all the woke dudes on Channel 10's The Project telling us that Germany shows us the way.
The future. the future, and the future is the past, because you've probably seen that the German people are Googling the German word for firewood at record rates at the moment. They're going back to all the old sort of technologies we used to have just to try and heat their homes. And keep in mind, the really interesting thing here, Chris, is the German energy minister is actually a member of the Greens political party. So I'm not copying any lectures anymore from the Greens political party in Canberra about how evil we are for coal-fired power, etc. Their colleagues over there in Germany are reopening 21 coal-fired power stations as we speak. We only have 19 coal-fired power stations in Australia. They are opening 21 coal-fired power stations because this is what happens when you have green energy ministers. You get to desperate straits, and that calls for desperate measures.
Yeah, this is how bizarre what you're saying is. You're not just saying do what Germany's doing, you're saying do what the German Greens political party are doing. That's how bad it's got there. Just briefly, I've got to get your thoughts on Scott Morrison having himself sworn in as a resources minister to cancel a gas project.
Well, I do think the commentary around this has been overblown. For my own perspective, he was the Prime Minister and generally has the right to make decisions in these areas. In terms of that decision, it was publicly announced that he had made it. But what I'm concerned about, Chris, is not so much who made the decision, it's what the decision was and how it was made. And I experienced, when I was Resources Minister, the increasing tendency that we would have nervous members of Parliament seek to dictate the development of our resources based on their job prospects, not the job prospects of those in the mining industry, and not the environmental impact on our community. We should obviously take into account the environmental issues, the job issues, but if we continue to go down this path of making resource development decisions based on the jobs of the 226 people in the little building on the hill in Canberra, we will deter investment, we will lose our reputation as being a country with low sovereign risk and a safe place to invest. We may as well close up shop and become a member of the South American community, because that's where we're going. And I hope we stop this sooner rather than later.
That is no way to run a country. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Appreciate your time. Senator Matt Canavan there in Queensland.